Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever or whoever you may be. I'm Alan Orrante, and this is the Recluse podcast. Anthony Quintero and I had the honor of interviewing Eddie Villa, the older brother of professional skateboarder Van Wastell. They first met when they were 3 and 6 years old and became brothers through their parents' new marriage. Van Wastell was born on April 22, 1984, and passed away on September 5th, 2008, while on tour in Germany. He was 24 years old. His death sent shockwaves throughout the skate community, for he was loved by many, and it was difficult for his older brother, Eddie Villa, the man you'll be hearing in this interview. Van Wastell was sponsored by Krooked, Vans, Spitfire, Maddox, Bones, and many other notable companies. He was discovered by pioneer street skater Mark Gonzales. The Gons would go on to turn Van pro for Krooked. Van would remain loyal to Krooked and the Gons until the end, despite the many offers he received from other companies. I want to thank Eddie Villa for welcoming Anthony and myself into his home. He was gracious, kind, and open. I admire the dedication he has for his brother. He keeps Van alive. At the end of the interview, I'm going to play a song written and performed by Eddie Villa. It's a song dedicated to his brother, and a song that seems to express all the emotions that come with losing a brother. There's a lot to be gleaned from this conversation. What is it like to have a brother, a best friend? What is it like to lose someone you love? And how does life possibly go on? Thank you, Eddie, for your strength and for your perspective on these questions. I admire your passion and your dedication to your brother and his memory. So without further delay, this is a portrait of Van Wastell. All right, we are officially on the record, and the date is January 19th. It is 2:26 in the afternoon. Who the hell are you? How the hell are you?
I am Eddie Villa, and I am Van Wastell's stepbrother. Mm-hmm. And I'm good, doing good. Thank you guys for having me.
What year were you born?
1981.
1981.
81.
Do you remember the first music video you can think of?
Yeah, MTV. My parents split up in 1987, and my mom moved to Thousand Oaks. And one of the first videos, and she had MTV in 1988. And one of my favorite videos back then was Bon Jovi, "I'll Be There For You."
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a great
Crazy.
one.
That was one of my favorites when I was a kid, watching that, yeah.
Where'd you guys live before Tia?
Well, my dad lives in Newberry.
Oh, gotcha.
Same house. Like I grew up in, still there. My mom moved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were what, 6, 7 when your parents split up?
Yeah, 6 years old. Yeah.
What was that like? Because my parents split up when I was like 4, so I can maybe relate on some level.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. It was rough. Yeah, me and my older sister had a hard time.
Yeah. Did you have to choose mom or dad, or did they?
My dad ended up keeping the house and keeping me and my sister. So it was just the 3 of us. So, and that's the way he wanted it. I guess my mom was cool with it. She didn't live too far away at the time, So
Yeah.
we just kind of me and my sister stayed with my dad.
Once they split up, did things sort of smooth out? Things got good again? Or was it turbulent for a while after?
Yeah, it was just we just did what we had to do. My dad dropped us off at the babysitter and picked us up when he got off work. It wasn't too much longer to where my dad met Van's mom.
Oh, really?
Within a few months.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah, because it was like the end of 87, it was over. And then February 1988 is when my dad met my stepmom. Yeah.
No kidding.
It was quick.
And they got married?
Yeah. They met in 88, and we used to go over they lived in Simi Valley off Tapo at the time. I was 6 and Van was 3. So I met Van when he was 3. we went every weekend from 1988 to 89, and they ended up moving in 89 to my dad's house. Yeah, so that's when we all became a family.
Yeah. Did you like Van right away? Was there some warm-up process?
Absolutely. He was so cool. Like when I remember going to Simi Valley, you know, as a kid, and I remember I always had a room full of toys, and I went there, and they had a 3-bedroom house, you know, all of them, and Van didn't have very many toys, and I remember thinking like, this is weird, and like he was 3, and he was already like on my level. You know, you see a 3-year-old that running around with a diaper. There was no diaper. Like I remember he was already skating the half pipe they had in the backyard.
Wow,
my older brothers had a 9-foot half pipe they built. And that was my introduction. The first time I met, because I had gone over there, like I think twice with my dad to meet Jennifer, my stepmom, and then I guess the third time or whatever, you know, it was like, oh, Van's gonna be there. You know, they're telling me you're gonna meet Van, and so she opens up the door of the house, and I walk straight through. You got to meet him. You got to meet Van. He's in the backyard. And it's at night, and there's the lights on, and I see Van. He's 3 years old, just going back and forth like this with a little red helmet. And it's still in my head. Like I still, you know, being 6, or I just turned 7 at the time, still can see it in my head. It's very, and he was such a cool kid. He was always mellow, always laid back. Great guy.
That's awesome, dude.
So sorry,
No, it's exactly what you should be doing. Did you have younger siblings from your parents?
No, just my older sister.
Wow, so dad. Van was special because you finally, maybe I say finally, but you then had a younger brother, a younger sibling.
Yeah, it was nice.
You know, because you were the baby, right?
Yeah.
You were always the youngest, until that point.
Yeah, it's funny. My stepmom was talking about it recently. Like I have like an older stepsister and 3 older stepbrothers. And the way it went, and she was just like, there was you and your sister, and then Van was younger than you. And then you and your sister filled that age gap. And then it was like my older stepsister. It literally it went in sequential order. And that's the way she said it. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. You know? It actually worked out that way.
Yeah. So you have a big family then. It sounds like you have 7 siblings?
There was. Now there's 6 of us, you know, but like the Brady Bunch. Yeah.
Did you, how long after you met Van, you pick up skateboarding?
I liked skateboarding before I actually met Van,
gotcha,
believe it or not.
Nice.
Yeah.
In 1985, I got a skateboard of Airflex when my parents were still together. Mm-hmm. I was like 4. Nice. And it was, I liked it back then, but definitely not as much as when I met, they came in my life.
I mean, you show up and they have a mini ramp.
It was like magic.
You're going to get in a skateboard after that.
Yeah, because it was like Kurt, the one who's closest to me in age, he's like 5 years older. Like, you know, it was like taking my hand as a kid and saying, you know, this is like a real skateboard, and this is a ramp. We skate this ramp. And I was 7 years old going like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
That was like always one of my dreams as a kid, is like to have your own half pipe or quarter pipe, in the backyard. So that must have been awesome.
Yeah, me and Van built one together at my dad's house in 96. Mm-hmm. Built a 3-foot high, 4-foot wide. I got pictures of it somewhere.
Right, dude.
Yeah. Well, so what was it like? You know, what was Van like? You know, say the last 10 years that he was alive. You know, what were those years like? What was he like?
It was a lot of fun. He was great. He was just like on top of his game, busy all the time, you know, always going on trips. And we hung out. We actually got closer as he left. I remember in the fall of 2003 when he was really on Krooked. He left. He went to San Francisco. And I was, of course, sad, you know, because we were hanging out all the time. And then we were chatting on AIM. You know,
AIM, dude.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, we do.
He was just like, the last 10 years was, I mean, that was like basically his whole skating career.
Yeah.
98 to 08, you know.
How old was he when he passed away?
24.
24. That's young.
Yeah.
And I was 27.
Man.
I mean, man, I'm 30 and a 27-year-old sounds like a kid to me now. Even though, like, you know, we're close in age, but so I can imagine being 24 is young.
Yeah.
know.
I still remember the day I heard the news, you know.
Yeah.
I can remember it clearly.
Me too.
You know. Yeah.
What were you doing when you heard?
September 5th, I had gone over to my parents' house to take care of the dog and the cat, and it was like about 5 p.m. And Kurt called me up, you know, the one who's closest to me in age. He called me up, and he was actually on his honeymoon at the time for his first marriage. And I thought he was calling me to say how awesome Hawaii was or whatever, but like I answered the phone and he was crying, and I was just like, and he said that, you know, Van was dead, and I was just like, what are you talking about, you know? And he was, you know, at first I didn't believe it, you know, but he was crying, and instantly I knew it was real. And I was by myself at the parents. I hung up the phone, and I completely fell apart.
Yeah.
Completely. And the first person I called was Van's old best friend, Mikey Taylor, when that happened. And I said, you know, Mikey answered. I said, I don't know how to tell you this, but, you know, yeah.
Wow.
And he said, he said, come over right now. So I went over there, and we were all kind of in a circle, you know, just crying our eyes out.
Man. So a bunch of heads came over, and you guys are just sort of
we were all at
other.
Mikey's in Newberry, in the backyard. Yeah, it was a very sad time.
Yeah,
it was like Elvis dying and skating. You know,
definitely. Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, there's shockwaves in the community.
Yeah, his death like reverberated on everybody who knew him or were touched by his skateboarding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you still do you still feel that pain on that level, or has it gotten easier
it's
over the past couple of years?
I was having a hard time for about 7 years, and then
really,
I didn't get better until about 7 years after. That's when I started to get better. It took a long time.
I've never personally experienced anyone close dying yet, you know, but I've heard, you know, Alan lost his grandfather, you know, pretty recently, so. It got me thinking more, you know, about it and appreciating people around me a lot more, you know. Even though it's never happened to me, I've never experienced it, but like it definitely put things into perspective, you know, having listened to like, you know, what Alan went through and, you know, others around me.
I think it's a really good point. That's why it's so, I think, important to have these conversations, to hear your perspective on that experience, and just people who have experiences like that, because it gives others the opportunity to then, you know, see the big picture.
Yeah.
So sorry to hear that, man. I know that.
It's a bummer.
I can't imagine.
It's one of the worst things and the most painful things that, you know, you and your family will ever have to go through.
Yeah.
It's rough. And, you know, when they're famous, it's even harder, you know. Because I had MySpace at the time when he died, and I had about 500 messages from people all around the world, their parents, you know, and it made me fall apart even more,
really,
you know, because I'd open it up and they would say how sorry they were for me and my family, and they said that if it wasn't for Van, their kid would never have picked up a skateboard, and I didn't know how to take that, so I fell apart. It broke me.
He definitely he shaped and molded my style, you know, in skateboarding. Having seen his videos and stuff, definitely my favorite local skater, you know. And then just the way he popped the board was so smooth and like high, you know.
Isn't it crazy?
You can hear it just, you know,
his style, like everybody talks about it. It's just like, even my older bro, Kurt, he just said the balance that he had was just unbelievable. And he had pop. Like my oldest brother, Jeff, has that pop, like, or he did.
No way.
Yeah.
It's a rare pop, dude.
In the 80s, he could ollie over, like trash cans, like my oldest brother, Jeff. And Van was we noticed right away, like when Van started skating, like, we're like, you could just watch him. We're like, oh, he's got Jeff's pop.
That's interesting to see.
Yeah.
Someone, in one of the videos you sent me, I can't remember who said it, but someone's like, those Wastell, guys, like they just all have the style.
Well, the Wastells all have an undeniable style.
Things that I was hearing in those videos, like a couple people said it, he would, for ordinary skaters, obstacles would like prevent you from hitting a spot. But like Van, his style was to somehow get around it, go over it, go under it, like just figure out and make it a part of the line.
If there was something in the way, he'd find a way to go around, over, through it, and make it look really good.
Skate definitely opened up a whole world to a bunch of people,
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely, yeah. He, towards the end, he changed his skating. I don't know if you guys noticed, like the last 2 years he was alive. I had a talk with him about it too, and like, he had told me that he was kind of done skating rails. He was over it, as you can see. All the later stuff. The way that he liked skating at that point was he was just cruising. And he told me like, when they went to New York to film Krooked Naughty in July 2007. They just, whatever was there, they skated. Didn't matter what it was. And that was what he liked. Like, he liked doing that with like Dan Hobel and Bobby and Mark. Just roll up to whatever you see. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, that was his thing. Like, he just would make something out of nothing.
Yeah. Like, I saw a clip. It looked like Venice to me. Those Venice ledges?
Oh yeah, the sand gaps.
Yeah, I want to say it was Venice, but he did this cool trick at like those ledges. There's not too much you can do with them. Well, to
Santa Monica. Yeah, Santa Monica. I know what you're talking about.
But he like kick flips over it, but steps on it. I don't even know what you call it. Steps on it and then lands on one foot.
Yeah, that's at the sand gaps. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was sick. Like, just super creative. Like, all it is just
step
like
off and then step back on.
Yeah, just like a cement block. Normally, what are you going to do? I'll maybe kickflip off it or something. But and I'm wondering if he knew he was even going to do that. It didn't look like he knew he was going to do that. He just like jumped and like it happened.
He did that in New York too. And it's a clip that the angle didn't make it in his naughty part, but I have it, and he actually does like kickflip, step off, and then body varial or something. Yeah, same type of thing.
Yeah.
He could do anything. It's crazy.
Yeah, what you were telling me something yesterday, Anthony. What you said you witnessed something at Borchard. Someone was talking about Van.
Yes, it was I remember when I was a kid. It was like a couple years after he passed, and this kid, like, I don't know who the heck it was, but he wasn't really, he was kind of talking trash on his style, on Van style. And I remember Leach was there, and like Leach just like shut this kid up. He was like, "You ever mention a fucking word about Van, I'll knock your fucking teeth out. You shut the fuck up."
Leach was his good friend. That's why.
I was like, whoa, like, first off,
and you witnessed that.
Yeah,
oh, that's amazing.
And you knew who Van was. You knew who Leach was in that exchange.
Yeah. I'm not close to Leach, obviously, but like just growing up watching him, and everyone else skate the park. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Just shut this kid up. That was funny.
Yeah, I like how people also describe Van's style was that he just kind of would float, like make something as simple as an ollie or a kickflip, like just majestic, Yeah. And some people never achieve that, like in their career. They can do crazy stuff, but it never looks effortless. It never looks like majestic.
Right.
What do you think? That's just luck? I mean, do you think he worked for that kind of style, or that's just how he was?
No, he was just blessed. Like some people, like Toad said about Cardiel, like some people are just blessed and touched, and he was blessed. Like that was what God gave him, a gift, and he put it in his feet. Put it that way. And I used to skate behind him. My dad's house is right next to the skate park,
Yeah.
And we leave and I'd ride behind him, and I would try to like copy his style, like how he was, riding, and like I would try and I'd feel his style when I'd be behind him, and then I'd try to ollie the same way, and I could do it, and I'd be smooth, but it would feel not my balance.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever feel like in his shadow, or were you just so proud of him? Like how did you view yourself compared to him?
That's a great question. I never felt like I was in his shadow because he took me everywhere and always wanted me to be at, photo shoots, or when he was trying to trick in LA. For some reason, he always wanted me there. And I still, to this day, like, I would think about it. Even then, I'd be like, why does he always ask me? And sometimes I'd say no, because, I didn't always like being chased by the cops, I never felt like I was in his shadow because I felt like he made me a part of what he was doing. So,
yeah.
And, he took me everywhere, all the way to the crazy fast-paced streets of San Francisco, trying to skate behind him.
Yeah.
All the way to like the most ghetto, soulful streets of Los Angeles,
Wow.
He introduced me, he showed me the world, I'm very lucky. So
did a lot of relationships you have now, are there relationships you have now that are because of Van? People people you talk to regularly?
Absolutely. I wouldn't, if it wasn't for Van, I wouldn't have known anybody in the industry, he's that one guy that people like me can tell you that changes your whole life. He's that one guy who changed my whole life. So
yeah,
absolutely.
How would you describe his personality? Was he funny? Was he smart, quiet? Like, how would you describe him?
He was like really smart. He was quiet, but he was very intelligent, and he had a sense of humor that was like unbelievable, that he would catch you off guard real quick. And, Mike Anderson knows what I'm talking about. The sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a lot of people that were in the circle know they know. Oh, I know what Eddie's saying.
Yeah,
I never got to meet Van personally, but just watching him from a distance, he seemed like a funny dude.
Yeah,
great sense of humor.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
He had
from
a very
people.
interesting sense of humor, and
or like I was watching that the documentary, the part 1 that you showed me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this like interview that they're doing in that documentary. It's like dark out, and like, and they ask, or he's like, is this supposed to be serious?
Okay, is this supposed to be serious, or is it like?
It's like fully serious.
Yeah.
And then like it's just funny. Like then those clips are so funny. You could see that sense of humor. I think.
Best memory
Or favorite thing about being a skateboarder?
about being a skateboarder. When it comes down to it, it's the actual skateboarding.
Yeah, you can a little bit. Yeah. The thing behind the whole thing with that was actually in Mexico. That was on a Vans trip. They sat everybody down. I actually have Vans.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I have a copy of Vans' whole interview from Joe Krolik, was the Vans filmer. He sent it to me. Yeah, there's more. The thing with Van is that you see it a little bit there because he hated interviewing. He didn't want any part of any spotlight. He wasn't in skateboarding to do interviews or autographs or anything like that. His whole thing was like, are we done? Can I, yeah, he didn't want anything to do with that.
I wonder
stuff.
why. Why do you think?
That's just not the way he viewed it. His whole thing was like, he did the skateboarding because it gave him a ticket to travel the world. That's what he wanted. All he wanted to do is see the world. But skateboarding was his ticket to do that. But he never wanted to be a part of any kind of spotlight. He always wanted to be behind. But then it's funny, in the early days, it's like, he wouldn't let you film him unless he was skating. Like even when I would try to film, in the house.
And that over there is Van. He's coming this way.
You would hide or, just stupid stuff. But like, yeah, it's very interesting. He never reached for stardom or anything. He just did everything on his own terms, like his own way, on his own terms. And it's very rare for that actually to work out like that. You know, you don't meet very many skateboarders who did their own thing on their own time, on their own terms, and were successful with it.
You almost want to like shake it out. Like, I mean, I like people like that. So when I say this, maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Like, there's a couple guys I know that are like that, where they don't want like the glamour and stuff. They just want the skating, and they're so good, but they're never like the loud one at the skate park, you know, wanting people to watch them. It's just, but like, you almost want to shake them and be like, dude, like, you're amazing. Like, just tell, you know, admit you're amazing already. You know, we want you to, you know that about yourself. I appreciate people like that.
Very humble.
Especially when they compliment you. Like, I know a couple guys that are like a lot better than me. And they'll compliment me. I'm like, dude, what? Like, you thought that kickflip was like good? Cause like, you know, you could do that easily, you know, switch. I just appreciate kind people like that don't take themselves too seriously, you know? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we were kind of our older brothers because Kurt was a professional snowboarder in the 90s.
Oh, no kidding.
And
is Kurt the oldest or?
No, he's the one that's closest to me. Jeff's the oldest, but we got pretty lucky with being humble because they, you know, because we were so much younger than them. Mm-hmm. And if we were out of line, me and Van, because we were always together even when we were younger, if we were out of line or anything, they would put us in line and humble us. And we learned very quickly that, you know, at a young age that you don't act the fool because our older brothers would kick our asses, you know, if we acted.
And what was it about them? Like, why were they like that?
I don't know, but they had the right idea and they still do, you know, and they taught me and Van a lot, you know, on how to be humble and not loud like that. And, you know, like I'm too good or I'm too cool. They made, if we even tried, they would, oh my gosh, we wouldn't be doing that again.
It doesn't look good either, you know, people that are out there like
not at all.
bragging or, you know, it's not a good look anyway. So it's wise of them to instill that humbleness. I mean, it just comes across so much better and you probably live a better life too. Not always thinking you're, you know, the best or the shit or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You said Van was smart. Like, in what ways do you think he was smart?
He was very intelligent. In high school, he got straight A's.
Oh, really?
Straight A's. I'm not kidding you guys. Wow. Ask my stepmom if you don't believe me. And it's funny because when we were in high school, you know, with these moms and parents who would, you know, we would be skating spots and they'd yell at us like we were delinquents or whatever. But they didn't even know that, like, you know, Van and Mikey Taylor got straight A's too.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So they didn't know that, like, it's just the whole thing of like us riding a skateboard really kind of fractured that, you know, good image about any but yeah, they were like, Van was like so smart. And yeah, he was book smart. He was street smart, you know, like he taught me a lot, you know, cause he left, you know, the 805 before I did. Well, actually I never left, but he went to San Francisco and he learned a lot on the streets and LA too, you know? So, yeah.
And, you know, he was good looking too. I mean, did girls like him? Was he a ladies' man in a way?
Me and him always had issues. We always wanted to get a good girl, but both me and him were like, our personalities were kind of in the same, like we were both like really kind of quiet about, and like our heads were more like skateboarding than like trying to play like the game with girls
during those like young, like high school
so
years.
We always had trouble like trying to land like a girl, but we always, you know, he always had a girl and I kind of did at the time too. We always had girls that were interested, but you know,
I was just curious, like, did he ever have any passions aside from skateboarding? Because I know you're multi-talented in different areas. Like, was he like an artist or like drawing? Or
Absolutely.
Like that?
Yeah. As the picture there on my fireplace, that painting down there, that's his.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. He was he did art, painted. He played guitar with me a lot. He was really good at piano.
No way.
Really good at piano. His dad lived in San Francisco, you know, back in the early Krooked days. And his dad had a piano in the room downstairs. Every time, even when we were in elementary school, every time I'd go to my mom's, he'd go to his dad's for Christmas.
Oh,
and
okay,
he'd go there, and his dad would teach him a song on the piano. His dad's phenomenal piano player, Rich Wastell. Yeah, phenomenal. Oh, he helped us write that song that we were going to put in his Chronicles part, you know?
Yeah.
So he did art, music. He really liked not a lot of people know this, but Mount Boney, he would hike Mount Boney by himself.
No way.
Yeah.
And he knew all the plants, everything to do with nature and animals. Like, no one knows that, you know? They just see him as a skateboarder.
Skater, yeah.
But he was very intelligent. He was very cultured.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a trip, you know. He would go take pictures of plants and stuff like that, and not a lot of people, like, you know, would do that.
Yeah,
Definitely, yeah.
So he could have done whatever. Do you think he could have done whatever he wanted almost?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure after skateboarding, he wouldn't have had a problem doing anything, whether it's starting a company or doing because I have an older brother, like second oldest. He was like a wildlife biologist, and he took Van with him on a couple things about a year before Van died. Yeah, he took him with him in Colorado. Van loved it. He helped him out. It was amazing, you know. Definitely into that stuff. So you never know. We, like my stepmom and me said, you know, we never know what would have happened. You know, if he had lived, and we don't know what he would have done. It would have been nice to see it.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
Do you have like any old clips? I know you said he doesn't like being filmed, but like of him playing piano or like drawing or painting or anything like that.
I don't have any video clips of him painting, but I have pictures of a lot of his artwork on my computer. Pictures of him playing the piano. I got a couple clips of us in the studio from when he was doing it. He was working on his Krooked Chronicles part. His major label debut. Me and him had a song that we wrote together, and then Dan Vellucci, the guy who made Chronicles, you know, came to the studio in San Francisco with us, and there's some clips that I have of that.
Nice.
Actually, I made a music video of it. It's on YouTube.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I saw something. You're playing. I think you're playing that.
That's the same guitar.
Yeah.
I also made a rough cut of what his part, because Dan Vellucci, when we recorded the song in San Francisco, and it took us like 3 hours, and after that we got the song, we got the master, we went straight to Dan Vellucci's editing room. Dan uploaded it. He like mocked up a part of like, you know, what it was going to look like with our song. And I never got a copy of it, but I just saw it. And so I just kind of retook his Chronicles part from what I remember, and I put our video parts, because it was going to be like, you know, that's what Van wanted. And Mark was down for it. Mark said, absolutely. But it ended up being Cheech and Chong. That's what Deluxe chose over ours.
Oh, yeah, he skated to Eric. Up and Smoke song at the end.
Yeah, they ended up putting that in instead of our song. So I just went back, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, it'll say on YouTube, and I just kind of remocked what it was supposed to be with our studio footage and the song.
Yeah.
So I have a couple clips of him playing the piano from that time, but, you know, I have pictures.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So.
Yeah, you had said something in I don't know if it was the documentary or if it was the 5 years after video. I was watching that today, and you had said, which sort of I think demonstrates that he actually was like a kind person. You said something to this effect: "When I was broke, he put money in my hand, gas in my truck, bought me lunch, gave me clothes, skateboards, and shoes. And I wondered, how could I ever repay you for all the stuff you've ever done for me?" And he looked at me and said, "That's what brothers are for. I have your back just like you've always had mine." What do you think about that?
He said that to me, that quote, exact quote. He said that to me about 2 weeks before he died. Really? In my parents' living room. So, yeah, because he constantly, when he was writing for Maddox Clothing, they would send him boxes all the time. Yeah. And he just give me clothes all the time. Like, I was working at Val Surf. I was making $10 an hour back in 2008? You know, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was renting a room, hardly making ends meet, and there he was. He's always there to save me.
I mean, what would you say, Van, you know, it's just been a hard week, like, you know, or would he just offer if he kind of noticed in you?
I didn't ask. He just kept giving me stuff all the time. But that, you know, that had gone since he got on Krooked. I never had to pay for anything, you know. But I was, you know, at the end, you know, like we were sitting there and he gave me some more of his, you know, some more stuff. And I'm just like, that's when I, you know, talked to him about it. I said, dude, I could never repay you, man. Like, you know, for everything you've done. I'm glad I got to say that, you know, because it was like right before he died. And that's when he looked at me and he was serious, you know, and he said, that's what brothers are for. You know, I've got your back just like you've always had mine. And I've always had his back, you know, with everything. And to whatever I could have his back with, you know. Yeah. So, yeah. He was very generous. I mean, it wasn't just me though. Like if you were his friend and he let you in, like you were going to get hooked up. And ask Mike Anderson. Mike Anderson will tell you the same thing.
Did Van come up before Mike Anderson?
Oh yeah. Van brought Mike up.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, Mike Anderson's still popping, right? Isn't he?
Still going. Yeah, absolutely.
He's pro?
Yep. Been pro on Krooked. They turned him pro after Van died in 2010.
Wow.
He took Van's spot. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, 2010.
No kidding.
Yep.
Yeah, he was. I wasn't there myself. Did you happen to go to the West Park fundraiser?
No.
Did you hear about it?
I did, but I didn't go.
Yeah, I heard Mike Anderson was there.
Yeah. They all told me about it, but I work 2 jobs. It's not easy for me to.
I didn't get to. I mean, we were on set shooting something for him. But I heard it was really good. And I heard Mike Anderson was there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm always telling him, and you know, I think about my own brother too. You know, if I make it somehow in something, like, you know, I'm going to hook you up no matter what. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm not going alone. And it's kind of cool that Van got to sort of live that actually.
Yeah, I was along for the ride. I was always there. I couldn't get up there because of work, but only 2 times I went up there, but mostly in LA. You know, I just jump in my car, let's go.
Yeah. So you actually got to go on some skate trips with him?
Yeah, just like around here, Missions, LA, anywhere like, you know, down south and stuff like that, or up north. That wasn't too far.
Do you remember those car rides?
Yeah, absolutely.
Being in the car for hours?
Yeah, about an hour or 2. He hated traffic, I'll tell you that. He was very mellow and not a lot of stuff bothered him, but one thing that really bothered him was the 405 traffic.
Dude, kills me too.
I avoid it if I can.
He had a little bit of road rage, but it wasn't that bad. But you know,
was he shy? Because I don't know. I wonder if quietness is the same thing as shyness, or was there actually a distinction between being shy and just being quiet?
I don't know. Maybe not too. He wasn't too shy. He was just kind of reserved. You know, personality. He was just reserved. He was just he was really mellow. You know? Yeah. So very laid back.
Yeah. I wonder. You know, what was so special about the two of you? You said that, and what I mean by that is that you kind of hooked to each other real young. It just clicked immediately.
Well,
the age difference.
When we were younger, it was like, yeah, we were we shared a room, but I mean, there was a lot of times where I was, you know, we bickered. You know, it's because I was a little bit older, and you know, I was always so jealous of him because everything that I could do, he could always do it better. And my stepmom will tell you the same. Like, she'll be like, "Yeah, he was jealous." Like. But like I said, we did our thing through high school, but we didn't start to really get closer until he went to San Francisco in 2003 when he moved up there. That's when we really that's when we started like talking. I noticed like we were chatting on AIM every night, you know. In like 2003, 2004. And he was always sending me pictures, always hitting me up, like telling me what he was doing. And I kept saying, come back, move back, you know. Like, I miss you, dude. Like, you know.
Did you go up to visit him?
Yeah, I went up there a couple times, yeah.
And he was up there with his dad?
No, he was living in various places.
With skaters and stuff.
Yeah, like the last time I went up there, and I forget, it was the fall of 2007. or early '08. I went up there. Well, he actually called me. He was living in the 6 Newell house, which is where like the Deluxe dudes live, and like Alyssa Steeman, John, they all have that house on 6 Newell. He was promised a room, but he had been sleeping on the couch, and he called me up and he's like, dude, I need your help. He's like, I was promised this and it fell through. Can you, if I fly back, can we drive up together and can we put all my stuff in your truck and move back? I said, absolutely. You know, and I couldn't have been happier that he'd been coming back.
He flew down so that you guys could drive up
yeah,
together.
we drove my truck up, we stayed the night in the 6 Newell house. Melissa Steamer was there. And
that's so cool.
There was 2 couches and they were like an L. And I remember it was freezing cold, so it had to have been the winter of '07. It was freezing cold, and
you guys have any blankets at least?
Not really. And he was just like, all right, that was when that Habitat video came out. We watched Inhabitants that night, and then Alyssa Steamer kind of came in and came out, and then she came back in and hung out with us, then went back out, and then we finally 10, 11 o'clock, we were trying to sleep on the couch and it was freezing cold and my feet were cold. And Van was like, yeah, he's like, now imagine trying to sleep like this and skate the next day.
Wow, yeah.
That's what he told me. And he's like, I got to come back. And I said, thank God, So we drove back. Next day we drove back. We went down in the basement, got all of his boards, and we drove back. And I was so happy.
Yeah. Were your folks proud of him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For everything he got to do in his life?
Oh, yeah.
Took him around the world. I mean, Japan. Yeah. Was it a Krooked video that they did in Japan? Or do you know what I'm
That
thinking?
was his very first trip in Japan in '02. It was December. He got asked to go on that trip with Mark. I don't know if it was Mark that asked him, and Bobby. And he got invited to go on that trip to Japan.
Wasn't on the team.
No, he was riding City Stars boards. The footage, he's got a City Stars board. Oh, wow. Yeah, and in the actual magazine spread, he's got a City Stars.
for a Krooked advertisement.
It was like Krooked in Japan. I actually have the magazine, and he still had City Stars at the time. He didn't get his. He actually got his first box in right around Christmas of '02. Because I have a picture of us that my older brother Kurt. He did like a selfie like that, and I'm sitting here, and Van's sitting next to me, and Van's wearing his first Krooked hat in Christmas of '02. Yeah,
that's cool.
So Japan. He got asked in that '02. Yeah, he was still on City Stars right before he quit.
Was he in City Stars? The video? What was that?
No, he wasn't in Street Cinema.
Street Cinema.
I think he arrived too late for that. I do have some clips that he was filming for it when he was wearing the City Stars shirt that nobody's ever seen, but it never made it in the video.
Yeah, we used to. That was one of the first skate videos I ever watched. We used to just watch it over and over.
Yeah, that was a good one. Street Cinema.
Yeah, that was a great one
for its time. And Kareem Campbell.
I can't even believe Kareem Campbell's on there.
Yeah,
Mikey,
was a big deal.
Paul,
Justin Case.
Man, it was such a good video. City Stars was a local company or what? Why are all these local people?
Kareem Campbell, he started it.
Is he from the area?
I think Kareem is L.A. maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he just found these young cats from
It's
interesting. He started it, and then everybody was on. I think Van was like one of the. Even Spanky, I think, was on. Yeah. Van was the last of that crew because they were all a crew at the time. Van, I think, was the last to get on. Yeah. We were sitting on the couch one night, or actually I was sitting at the counter and Van was sitting on the couch, old, house phones. He was calling Kareem Campbell over and over again and he was stressing out. And I'm like, why don't you just leave Kareem a message? That's my logic of like, I'm 20 years old telling Van, well, just leave him a message. And he's like, you don't understand. He gets 1 million calls a day. He's not going to get my message.
Yeah. And what exactly was he calling him for? Just to be on his team?
To confirm that he was going to be on the team.
Well, Van at this point was a teenager still, right?
Yeah, 17. Yeah.
I can't imagine that. How these young skaters come up so early, like in the industry.
Yeah, there's a lot of great skaters from this area. It's crazy. Even like Ventura, Oxnard. And not only that, but like musicians as well, like come from this area.
Yeah, this area is
crazy.
I like this area a lot.
It's so interesting.
Ventura County.
Yeah.
We all have our talents in our own ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really interested in the fact that you're a musician because we're musicians. You know, we play a little guitar and like I play piano a little bit. And I just get this feeling that song that you wrote, it just must be very special to you. I've seen I'm not sure if there's one song that you wrote for Van, but there's some song that I saw come up a couple times. It might be the one from in the studio, maybe the song you wrote with Van.
Yeah.
Or did you write a song after?
Yeah. Like right after he died. Yeah. So, something just came to me one day, and it just kept happening, and I
just
was
like wrote itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like it sort of communicates how you feel about the situation?
Yeah, it's just like everything that was going on in my head, just all out in a song. Like, you know, that's the way it kind of went.
Was it sort of therapeutic to write it? You write the song and it sort of got something out of you? Yeah,
when something's just kind of tornadoing inside your head for so long, it's like, and you're a musician. It's sometimes you got to get that out, and sometimes it just does it all on its own, you know, without having to try. And that one I didn't really have to try; it was just there.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those songs where the lyrics just like come out, and I don't know where it's coming from, but I write it down. You know, because usually I have to force myself to write lyrics. Like riffs come to me all the time, but words don't. And every once in a while, I'll just get them flowing. So I make sure to write it down so I don't forget, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting how it works out that way.
So, you know, again, I think these conversations are really important because, you know, life, you know, we're all going to pass away at some point, you know? You know, we're going to lose grandparents, or, you know, we might be the person who's lost to our family. So I would just ask you, you know, you had said something that was really deep in, I think maybe the 5 years after video. Is that the video where there's it's sort of black behind you?
Yeah.
You had said something. You'd said that, you said, I would have rather it be me gone instead of Van.
Oh yeah.
And you meant that?
Yeah. Back then. Yeah, absolutely.
Like what does it mean?
That was like when I was, you know, the first 2 to 3 years after he died, I was like in heavy depression.
Yeah.
And the way I looked at it was like, well, he had a lot more going for him than I did. You know, I never, you know, when I was like working at a skate shop, and he was established, and you know, for him to go, it's a bigger deal than myself. You know, if I would have went, maybe, you know, a small amount of people would have been sad. That's the way I looked at it. But for somebody like him, who the whole world loves, you know, like, that's what all I could think about is I would have rather it had been me than him.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I was thinking back then.
Yeah. You said that, it felt like half of you died, and that nothing, I don't know when this interview was, but you had said that you felt like half of you died and that nothing could fill that emptiness.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like that?
Not entirely, but somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still empty, you know, like getting this place I bought, you know, that was our thing. The last month he was alive was he really wanted to get a 2-bedroom, and he was pushing for it hard. That way I could be, you know, taking care of everything while he's going on trips and pay the bills. But yeah, it's coming in here, 2-bedroom, 10 years later. It's like, you know, it was hard.
Do you, like, is there some part of you, it's like you wish like Van could see this place? Do you think stuff like that to yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, like the way I looked at the whole thing, and like, I feel like that if, even though he's not here to see like what he has done and what he's achieved and what I've done for him, I think that if he could be like looking down and it like be confirmed that he's looking down at everything, I think he'd be down for it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I think he'd love the spot.
Yeah. He'd be down for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure, he'd be very proud of you.
Yeah, definitely.
I could only hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. You know, you keep Van's memory alive. You know, he's alive through you. you know, and through. I think in one of the videos you really appreciate Mike Anderson because I think you said something that, you know, Mike is also really keeping his memory alive. And how does Mike do that? What is it that you appreciate?
Yeah, bless Mike for that, for sure. You know, like just shortly after too, Mike was always including him in things, you know, and pushing for Van to be included in, you know, future Krooked releases and stuff like that. Like Mike was always down to have him, you know, like,
yeah.
And,
yeah. Your brother passed away on September 5th.
Yep.
Does your family get together? Do you guys still?
Yeah, we go to the cemetery. Yeah. We just decorated his Christmas tree. I put it on Instagram. There's a picture of me on my Instagram, you know.
Christmas tree at his plot?
At this. Yeah, my parents get a small little itty bitty Christmas tree, and we decorate it, you know, and then
That's cool.
on Christmas. So
yeah, I'm sure you've seen this, but you know what's I think really beautiful too is Jim's tribute to Van, which I assume you've seen.
Oh yeah. It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you told me about it.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Jim, it's almost the back, or it is the back page of his book, and it says, "In honor of Van Wastell, R.I.P., who inspired so many people and is greatly missed every day." Did you spend any time with Jim back in those days?
Oh yeah. Well, Jim with me, gosh, I go so far back with Jim because I was in 1995, 96. I was a freshman and Jim was a senior.
Oh, okay. No kidding.
Yeah. Jim, actually, we all idolized Jim, like everybody in my
your
class.
Brother too? Well, your brother would have been, what, a year behind Jim?
He was 2 or 3 years younger than me.
Yeah.
But,
That's right. Sorry. Yeah. Your
like,
brother would have been in middle school.
Everybody idolized Jim in the 90s because Jim was like, you know, amazing to watch. When I was 15, you know, and like we'd all go to this. We all gathered on the basketball court at Borchard because there was no skate park back then, and we'd skate the bank. And Jim was there, part of the crew. He was actually the one who would take us around to spots too.
Really?
Because Jim had a car, we didn't. You know, and Jim would take us to spots in Agora. He took us to spots like, gosh, and
who would he take?
Calabasas,
You,
Westlake.
Van?
Yeah, and like even like friends of mine that were in my grade that skated. You know, it was like all of us, whoever. Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes Mikey and we'd all. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because Jim's so reserved and quiet. Yeah, it's like I'm struggling a little bit to see how that would, you know, how he would. Did he reach out? Did you guys reach out? Hey, Jim, we'd love to skate with you.
We'd just all be there with him at Borchard.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you know, it would if one of us or Jim or anybody wanted to skate something, you know, we'd all know about it. And then Jim had the car. Okay, so it's like, all right, let's go check it out. And Jim also had a half pipe in his backyard back then too.
You guys skated that?
Oh yeah, after school all the time.
Well, yeah, Van was pretty good at vert. Wasn't that unusual? Or didn't some of the other guys in the group not really do much vert? Or Van was particularly good at it?
Oh my gosh, it's funny you asked that. I tried so hard during the early mid Krooked days. I kept saying, man, you got to get some tranny in your part. You know, I tried so hard, and I'd always try to push him to get a tranny in his part, and he just wouldn't do it. I don't know.
You don't know why?
But he was so good. Like, and everybody knew he could skate tranny, and, you know, but he just like, he's just like
street.
Only street. Yeah. I don't know. I tried. I would say something all the time. I'd be like, dude, you got to get something, like, you know.
Well, I get the impression that he could have been really good at train. If he wanted to dedicate like his time to being, you know, on a half pipe, he probably would have started ripping, you know, like these other guys.
He was good. He was super good. There's not much footage of him out there skating tranny, you know, but there's some, you know, like I'm surprised in his Chronicles debut, he put me in his part. We were up at the broken pool. You know, I fall behind the broken pool in his part. You know, everybody laughs every time. That's me. And then I land the backside disaster. He was actually skating that the same day. And my clip, he chose my clip instead of his to be.
And he had to make and everything?
He did like just like I think a back Smith stall. I have it on my computer, but it just never made it. I think they put it in Project Deconstruction the same year. But it's like, I remember that was like, we purposely went up there so he could get something.
Really? Did he know that?
We went up to the Broken Pool in Malibu, and Shad Lambert was there shooting
photos. Wait a second. You're talking about that pool. Is it sort of almost abandoned? Like, or is
it was a house that like burnt. I don't know if it burnt down.
Yeah, that place is killer. I haven't been there, but I've seen plenty of footage.
Because the pool, it shifted down the mountain. Like there was a 6 foot gap in between where the pool was to like the
ground
dirt.
Just like split.
Yeah, it was a 6 foot, and then when it shifted, it like kind of broke a little bit down, and then it formed a perfect quarter pipe that was like 6 feet, but there was a bump to it. It was
so
that's kind of like I was trying that when I fell behind the pool, I was trying to blunt, but that bump it threw me off, and then I tried to step, and the top is only a brick length because the rest of the cement's gone, and my foot's.
Did it hurt?
I fell like 4 feet down on my back.
You get the wind knocked out of you?
I got lucky. I didn't get hurt too bad.
Is that pool still there?
I don't think so.
No?
I heard it's not. I haven't been back since.
That's the Soltec one?
No. This was called the Broken Pool that Mark Gonzales had skated way back then in like 04.
Wow. No way.
He kind of told Van about. That's why we went there like 2 or 3 times.
Secret spots.
Had you met Mark Gonzales?
Oh, yeah.
He was, because I'm not like a big skate nut. As much as I love skating, I'm not that big of a skate nut. But isn't Mark Gonzales, he was like one of the first guys to, not maybe the first guy to do it, but didn't he popularize like board slides on rails? I thought he was doing stuff like way before anybody was doing it.
Yeah, he did a lot of things before anybody. What was that San Francisco gap? They call it the Gons gap or something like that. He was the first one to ollie that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He introduced
Mark is just, his skating's on a different level. Best all around, you know.
Would you credit Mark Gonzales for giving Van his break, or did somebody else give Van a break?
It was all Mark.
Really?
It was Mark. Van and Mark found each other. And the way I've always said it was like, I don't know how it happened, but they found each other, and like on that, when he got invited to that Japan trip in 2002, they found each other, and it was like fate. I believe it was fate, because Mark, he came back and he was like, I think Mark likes me. I think Mark likes me. And we were like, no way. You know, that was a big deal back then. Like,
well, Mark must have been huge back. I mean, he's huge now, but he must have been huge back then.
Because he was like transitioning from being on real skateboards to starting Krooked.
Right.
You know, so yeah, Van said that Van and him got along great. He loved Van's art. He loved Van's ideas. That's what Van told me when he came back. And I couldn't believe it. I said, no way. And he's like, I think he's going to put me on. He's starting this company called Krooked. And it's like this guy, Bobby. It's just me and Bobby and Dan Drehobel. I think he's going to put me on the team. We're like, no way. All of a sudden a box shows up, Krooked gear. We're like, what? Like, it was too unreal. Like, I couldn't believe it. And Mark absolutely loved him.
And when was that? How old was he around this time?
Van was 18 when he got on Krooked. Yeah.
Wow. Still in high school?
No, it was the fall of 2002. He graduated in June of 2002, so it was the fall of 2002.
Wow. Dude, how perfect is that? Getting a break like right after high school?
It was
finish school?
It was the perfect situation. And from that point on, from like 2002, 2003, you know, in the next couple of years, you wouldn't even believe Mikey Taylor's companies, like Seek, when he was on Santa Cruz, when he was on Seek, companies like that. They would bombard Mikey to talk to Van.
Really?
Say, talk to Van. We'll give him a board right now. And Van would not do it.
He was dedicated to Krooked.
He was loyal to Mark.
No kidding.
And he was loyal to all of his companies.
Right.
He would never burn bridges. And that I respect.
I mean, you know, was there some part of Mark maybe like, hey, maybe you should do this. Like, maybe this is a good opportunity. Or Krooked was just still so like killing it that there's almost no reason.
Honestly, I don't think Mark knew.
Really?
I don't think Van, you know, this was just like...
Well, yeah, these companies probably don't want
They were talking to Mikey, like, directly.
Yeah.
To talk to Van, but I don't think Van would tell Mark about something like that. But no way. There's no way Van was going to leave a perfect situation.
Yeah.
Because, like, with Mikey's thing and his companies, like Girl Chocolate, all the big ones, they're like... There was high expectations, you know, and...
Yeah.
For, you know, you got to... skate these big rails and all that. They had expectations, and the one thing about Mark was that there was no expectations. It was like show up, we're all together. It's a family type thing. Skate whatever we come to, and if you get a trick, cool. Like no worries. Like, but like Girl in Chocolate and all those guys are like, all right, you gotta backside flip a 12 stair or like big flip lip a freaking 10 stair rail. You have to get it, and like there was no type of. That's why Van didn't want to leave, and Van was very smart for staying with Mark.
So that it sounded like a top down thing where Mark's attitude towards like the industry or the skating in general was like just be you. Let's just show up. Whatever we get, we get. Compared to especially now, I mean, God, do you ever wonder how Van would fare now? Say if with the current state of the industry,
it would have been up to him. He could have still been on Krooked, because Bobby and Van and Bobby were the same time.
Yeah.
It would have. Yeah, they were on at the very beginning together, and it would have been up to Van if he wanted to continue at this point, because his style was too amazing that it would still be. He would still. They would want it.
I liked. There's a lot of clips. Again, I wish I could remember because I watched a bunch of videos, but someone, maybe it was you, was kind of joking about how. No, it wasn't you, but they were joking about how like, Van made varial flips look cool.
Like he was the exception to skateboarding. Like he made a varial flip look cool. Like who the fuck can make a varial flip look cool?
And then there's Mike. There's like Mike. A little montage. Yeah. Then Mike there's a little montage of just varial, maybe 5 tricks in a row. Like, but it was cool. I mean, he would varial flip sets, like from the top of a hubba, like into the bank of a hubba. Like it was sick. And I personally actually never disliked varial flips. I don't know where that comes from.
Well, he made them look good, which is you can see. Yeah. Some people they look terrible, but he made like when you watch it, you're like, wow.
Yeah, it almost looks like a tray flip. It looks like a half of a tray, which is kind of what it should be. But like his style of the varial flip looked like half of a tray flip, where you almost fooled for a second. But instead of a tray flip, it's a varial flip. I think that's great. Varial flips don't get the credit.
I know it's cool that he kept them alive because they do get a lot of hate for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, he could do whatever he wanted. Just like Mike said, he could do whatever he wanted. He was the exception. Mike is just spot on with that, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Mike. Someone said something funny like the first day they skated with Van.
It's funny because there's one story I always remember, and that was Kurt came into town, and at that time I didn't talk to Kurt because he was on another level. Kurt ollied up the curb, Van kickflipped up it. That day really stuck with me because it was the most perfect kickflip up this curb. And I just remember thinking, damn, I'm never going to catch up to this kid.
And he like kickflipped on a ledge. I think he knows Manny too. Kickflip knows Manny. This guy, I can't remember who it was like, ever since I saw that kickflip, like, I think he must have said I knew like Van was special or that was the best kickflip I'd ever seen or something. And it's just funny that someone's trick will sear someone's mind like that.
Yeah, Ryan Leach. Yeah. He said
was it Ryan?
Yeah. And Ryan was right because back in 98, when Van was really starting to skate with us, 97, 98, it was the time that Ryan saw that kickflip. And I remember that day. I think
were you there?
Yeah, I think it was a kickflip at across the street from Borchard, like at the shopping center where Albertsons used to be in there. It's like Trader Joe's now. I think he did it. I think it was over there. I'd have to ask Ryan, but I think it was. If I can remember correctly,
it looked like a little mani pad almost.
But the one in the video is different because
I see.
Krooked we didn't have anything to work with except for Steve Ireland's kickflip nose manual, which is I don't even know where that was, but that wasn't the clip. It wasn't. No one filmed it that day, but I think it was across the street from Borchard at that shopping center where he kickflipped up that curb. If I remember correctly.
Yeah. What you don't have to talk about. I know you're trying to get a hold of Steve Ireland. That guy seemed pretty special. He was filming everybody back in the day, just in case. Mikey Taylor,
right time, right place.
Paul Rodriguez too. Paul when he was a kid
filmed Abe.
Jim Bates
filmed Anthony Van Engelen. He filmed Rob Deerdick.
Oh wow! Yeah, I mean, just right time, right place.
Yeah, he started with all of us. you know.
Who was he? Just a guy with the camera that basically just
he went to our high school. He went to Newberry High, and he was a part of our Borchard crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. He was there every day. He skated, and he just like, I don't know. He got a camera, he got a VX, and then he just kind of went from there. And
no kidding,
filmed everything. And I think he knew that he had something special with Mikey, Van, and Justin Case. Those three, Ireland knew. And even if you were there when the 2001, 2002, when the skate park first opened at Borchard,
yeah, which I can't even imagine.
If you were there, like I was, and those three, Van, Justin, and Mikey Taylor, if you saw them, it was something to see.
Were they just ripping it up?
It was something to see.
Wait,
like,
you can think back to the day Borchard opened.
Not the very first day, but like around the time it was like when we were going every day during that from 01 to 02.
I mean, were you like pinching yourself? Like, is this real? Like, this is like so awesome.
It seemed normal to me, but I would just watch, and I was just like, wow. But you know, being a part of it, you don't really think of it as like a little kid fan.
Right.
I was right there skating with them, but not nearly. You know, I was just skating the quarter pipe.
Man, I can't even imagine Borchard not being there. It's like just in my mind as like infinite, like it's just been there forever. You know,
since the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
20 years. Yeah,
it's
almost. No, 2001. They started 20 years ago. I got a cool picture of me and Van when they were building it, when it was still kind of dirt and they kind of had the hubba shape.
Yeah.
I bought a disposable camera. Oh shit.
That's good.
And I had a disposable, and we would go there because we lived right next door, you know, and we'd take the dog for a walk and I took a bunch of pictures of the progression of it. And I actually, because I took a picture of Van, I still have it. It's a picture, not on a computer, but, he was walking the dog, and I got a picture of Van, like, you know, with the skate park and, you know, with like tarps and everything. And then he got a picture of me that I just finally put it on Instagram, like within the last 10 of my posts or something.
Yeah.
Just holding my board, and I'm standing in the dirt where the park is now.
So wild.
Yeah, I know.
And they're expanding it.
And that
apparently.
was 2000, you know, and it's 2020. That was 20 years ago. So.
Yeah, and they are expanding it. You know, I hope I don't know. Do you know anything about the expansion?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're going to have to tear it all out.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Are they going to demo it?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't want that, and nobody else does.
I think just an expansion would have been nice. You know, if you want to build around it.
I told them build behind, you know, but they said they have to get rid of it because the foundation's kind of janky and whack, and there's really nothing they can do at this point. They have to tear it out, they said.
Bunch of history sort of
as
much memory.
Oh, yeah. I got pictures of Van there. Like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. That's going to be cool, though. I mean, it just sucks it's going to be closed. Like, then you're not going to be able to skate until it's done, which will take years probably.
We're probably going to be
I'm the
dads
only
by
one
that time.
Took pictures of the progression of that place.
Oh, really?
Apparently. Yeah, my buddy runs Borchard Park, and I just dropped off my camera roll to him. You know, apparently I'm the only one who took pictures.
Yeah.
The making of that skate park.
So, you know, for people out there who maybe are going through something like what you went through with losing your brother, what has helped you over the years? What sort of, do you have any strategies? You know, what do you say to yourself to kind of get you over the hump, to get you through this? I figure you're still working on it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a never-ending process. You know, it's just like what's helped me is being in touch with everybody, and you know, a lot of his photographers and filmers sent me just unlimited amounts of his content, and I really kind of, you know, you got to find something that you like to do, and like I discovered video editing when I started getting all of his clips, and I started making these tribute edits in 2012, 2013, and I had never filmed really. Except for a couple times when we were kids with Kurt's camera. But, you know, it's just like I found something, like I just all of a sudden I started making these tribute edits and putting them on YouTube, and I didn't know what I was doing, you know, 2013, 2014, from that point on. And then the reaction I got from everybody, and then I'm just like, oh, wow, this is actually kind of fun. You know, it's like it's taking, you know, even if I'm video editing music videos, it's like you got to find something that really kind of takes your mind off of the darkness, that you can put your emotions on, and like, you know, And obviously for me, like my job saved my life too. The post office, it saved my life. You know,
Why do you say that?
Because it's like when you deliver mail and packages to buildings, you're constantly every second of all day going through papers and trying to make sure you have the right address. It's like, I'm telling you, it's very encompassing, and it's like all you want to do, and you don't have time to think about anything else except for getting this box upstairs to these people and this mail all day long. And it's like, you know,
and it kept your mind.
Yeah, it keeps your
spiraling.
Absolutely, you know, and it's all I want to do. So you got to find something that you enjoy doing, that won't that you can put in front of everything. You know, it's hard. It's easier said than done. But
and with because I lost my grandpa in 2016. He was like my father, and it was really hard for my mom. It basically destroyed her. You know, I cried. You know, he died of cancer. Of course, like I'm very sad, but I'm getting through it. But I have some video of him when he looked healthy, you know, because he died of cancer. He looked healthy, and it reminded me of all the good times, actually, because I forgot. You know, maybe you can relate. You know, all the good times just washed away, and all I could think about were him being sick, and then the funeral, and all the hard stuff. But when I saw those videos of him, you know, a little younger, healthy, I was like, oh yeah, there was a life before we lost him that like I just lost sight of. So I ask you that because the first time I started watching those videos again, I got emotional, and it was a little hard. You know, how do you feel when you watch your brother skate and you're watching him, you know, smile on camera and stuff like that?
Well, at first it was very hard. About 8
Could you
years
do it
ago.
at all? Were you able to even look at it?
Yeah. I mean, I was very sad, but I was very happy to see what he had accomplished. I'm used to it now. All the stuff I have it all on my hard drive, you know, and I look at it a lot, and it does remind me of the life that I used to have as well. You know?
Yeah.
It just like, you know, I always think about, wow, you know, like what a fun time. And, you know, that it just reminds me of, what I used to have.
Yeah. I got just a couple more questions. Do you have any questions, Anthony? Anything?
No, not at the moment.
What would you want? How do you want Van to be remembered? What do you want to be remembered about him?
What I hope for his fans and, you know, people who ever watch his skateboarding on YouTube, or anybody who even cares, that what I want for them to remember is like just how genuine and like giving and loving he was. And if, you know, like they can learn something from him, it would be to like help people around you and like who have less than you have, like he always did. So
I got one more question for you. Who the hell are you?
I'm Eddie Villa. My God. Who the fuck is Eddie? Nobody knows who I
got
am.
one more question for you. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Eddie Villa, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you getting in touch, you know, responding to me. You know, it's so easy for people to like not read these messages. I thought this was very special to me. These conversations have to happen. You know, people can learn, you know, through stuff like this. They hear what you went through and what others have gone through, and I think it's very valuable. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure, you know.